What is a Goyim?
A non-Jewish human who is not seen as a human.
It's a derogatory term. It's like calling someone a beast or a cattle. Now, the actual Hebrew word for cattle or livestock is different, yes. And that's why they will tell you that goy, or plural goyim, just means nation, or that's what it meant originally. But it signifies the other, if you will, the outsider. And over time, it has attracted negative connotations because of how it has been used and by whom. Let me take a couple of examples what I mean here. Take the word nigger. Now, originally that just meant dark, a black person, Negro. But of course, over time, that has become associated with negative connotations, a term of insult. Take the word kike, same thing. This is a Greek-derived term, kyklos, for circle. And of course, this is because the Ellis Island Jews did not want to put an X down for their signature because that resembled a cross. Here's another one for you. A neutral Greek-derived term for private citizen was originally idiot, which later became a clinical term for severe intellectual disability. And of course, today it's an insult. Here's another one. Cretin, originally a neutral medical term for a condition linked to iodine deficiency, now a form of a slur for stupidity. So I guess by that logic, there's no way that terms change and that words change meaning over time depending on who's using it. But for some reason, you're not allowed to find this out regarding goy or goyim. There has been damage control over this term over the last couple of days, since the release of the Epstein files, where these terms are mentioned. There has been internet sanitation over this term. The implication here, of course, is that we are like livestock or a resource to them. Like here, when someone in the Epstein files calls Madonna cattle for her laughable attempt at converting to Judaism. But let's hear what some of the rabbis have to say about this. Now, according to them, they are chosen and we are not.
The difference between a Jew to a goy, to a non-Jew, and we are talking now even the most righteous goy, not an idol worshipper, a great Gentile person, great personality, loving Jew, respecting God, everything fine with him. But this is a Jew compared to him, according to the book of God. The Jew is like the water that you bring from the lake in the bucket. And the Gentile is the few drops that stick to the side of the bucket when you put it down.
When God gave us the Torah, the Gentiles were jealous of us. They feel that we think we're elitist, we think we're the chosen people, which by the way we are. We do think we're elitist. We are the chosen people. They think that we think only we are the children of God, and we do think that. And we're not embarrassed to say, only the Jewish people are the children of God. The nations of the world are not the children of God. There's an ethnical reason. There's they feel that we are elitist. We think of ourselves as better than them, which we do. And therefore, they hate us. So these are the two reasons for anti-Semitism.
When you think about it, the masters of the universe are Jews. It's us.
We have earned the right to influence public debate. Jews are too powerful. We're too strong. We're too rich. We control the media. Never, ever apologize for using our strength and our influence.
And that pretty much sums up the language contained in the Epstein files, speaking about Goyim, as Jeffrey talks with his Jewish clients, his blackmail subjects, and other fellow pedophiles. Mark Fisher wrote in an email to Epstein claiming that Jewish souls are composed of different ingredients and components and have a different, higher level than Gentile, or if you will, then Goyim souls. You behave like the Goyim you do not respect, Epstein said in another email. This is the way the Jew make money. Let the Goyim deal in the real world. And here's Epstein to Larry Summers, the former U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. They closed most tax loopholes, at least for the Goyim. 100% Jew-nite? Publicist Peggy Siegel asks Epstein, and he replies, Goyim in abundance. The new versions of these dictionaries gaslight you into thinking that this is not what the term Goyim really means. But the older versions of the, for example, Jewish Encyclopedia contains everything you need to know.
In its article on Gentiles, the Jewish Encyclopedia begins to define what makes a Jew so different from a Gentile. According to the rabbis, only Israelites are men. Gentiles they class not as men, but as barbarian. Since Gentiles are not men in the fullest sense, so the Gentile is not a neighbor of a Jew. Further, since Gentile laws were too crude to admit of reciprocity, meaning too crude to be taken seriously, the Gentile was forever beneath the Jew. Gentiles were outlawed by God from the beginning, and thus had no property rights. The Almighty offered the Torah to the Gentile nations also, but since they refused to accept it, he withdrew his shining legal protection from them and transferred their property rights to Israel, who observed his law. A Gentile had as little legal rights in a Jewish court as did an animal. So vile was the nature of a Gentile that the great Simeon ben Yohai said, "The best among the Gentiles deserves to be killed." Jews, however, are exalted beings in the Talmud, worthy of praise. Blessed be thou, who hast not made me a Goy, or Gentile.
And coincidentally, that's just what the tour guides say at Birthright Israel, or Taglit. If I had to choose between 10,000 non-Jews and one Jewish life, I would choose the Jewish life. Birthright Israel was founded by Charles Bronfman and Michael Steinhardt and Yoshi Bellini. It was established in 1999 following a proposal from philanthropist Charles Bronfman and Michael Steinhardt, who were members of the Mega Group, started by several Jewish billionaires. And of course, this was for Jews only. The initiative was to provide a free 10-day trip to Israel, supported by the Israeli government and the Jewish Agency to diaspora Jews, primarily Americans, to get them to become more blood and soil. Les Wexner and Ronald Lauder are part of the founders of the Mega Group as well. Les Wexner, of course, is the finances behind Epstein for the most part, but it's funny with Ronald Lauder, considering that the Jewish World Congress that he heads up wants to fight racism and says nothing about the Jewish supremacy that is coming from Birthright Israel and their organization.
Laws must be passed that will focus on three things: no racism, no anti-Semitism, and no anti-Western civilization.
He, of course, helps to fund it. And he has all these business partners and friends that move in these circles around Epstein. A lot of these Jewish supremacists think that they are better than you. And of course, they would like to put you in jail if you point that fact out.
All world leaders, all politicians must lead in this effort. Laws must be passed, severe, tough, real laws that will put these hate mongers away in prison for a long time.
And here's another goodie for you. Epstein is telling former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak that he should make it clear to former Qatari Prime Minister Hamad bin Jazim during a meeting in London that Epstein actually helped to broker, that Epstein totally isn't working for the Mossad. Wink. Epstein did admit, though, that he represents the Rothschilds. So there you go. Now you know what a Goyim is. And you know that sex trafficker Epstein belonged to Mossad intelligence for blackmailing operations. And that the people he surrounded himself with, you know, the other pedophiles, they think they're better than you.